Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals and today I've got some PvZ from the ladder. It is on one of the new maps, Xerus I think it's called, and it's a cool map, but I'll take a look at that in a minute. But first, let's introduce these two players. So spawning in the top right position, we have the red Protoss player from Team Evil Geniuses. It's iNcontrL. And his opponent down in the bottom left, the blue Zerg from Team Root. It's Fitzy. So, iNcontrL v Fitzy, this should be an incredibly cool game, but let's take a little bit of a look at the map. Okay, for a start, you've got nice, normal looking natural base. Apart from this part, this is pretty funky, okay? And the reason this is funky is because this is actually your exit. Really, really narrow, okay? That's a narrow area, walling off that a cinch. And then come up here towards a nice and easy to take third. And you've got a big area here, so that makes the third awkward. But this is where things get a little bit cool, because there's some destructible rocks down the side, and that means that even if you wall off, this is a large open area which you can easily get units coming in, and therefore you have to be a little bit cautious, because while you can greedily take that base, obviously you've got to watch out for the rocks at the back. Your third, okay, that's easy to take, no problems there. Your fourth, natural progression. Your fifth, it's a big map, 4-player spawns. It is actually really quite a large area. I'm not sure how large it is in terms of the size of the map, but it's got cool lava effects as well, which is always fun. And apparently very explosive lava as well, looking at that all go down. But they're in the forced cross spawn positions, or not forced cross spawns, they are just spawning in cross. I believe all spawn positions are possible, but apart from vertical. I don't think that vertical are possible because that makes for some funky stuff with pylon warp-ins for Protoss, so they tend not to do that. This map really most similar and sort of designed to, well, I'd say the most similar map is in Tomb Valley. Actually, if just taking a quick glance at it, just the big difference being that there's these two bases here rather than having one at the top in that sort of area. But other than that, it's fairly similar, and obviously the watchtowers at the side as opposed to in the centre. But we see that iNcontrL has thrown down a pylon. He's got his forge coming down behind this, so he's going to be ready to go for a little bit of the cannon fun. And of course, cannon fun is always good when your opponent skips their spawning pool. There is nothing wrong with doing this. This is not cheesy. This is just sensible. Because as we can see, Fitzy went for a ridiculously early third and natural. His spawning pool only just getting started now, so you will get punished by cannons, because if you go for this sort of build on ladder, a Protoss player will always do this to you. If they don't, they're crazy. Why would you give away a base for no apparent reason? So now this hatchery of course finishes up. Could very well die though. Another cannon is going to go down right in the middle line there. This is going to be such a tough position to break. Of course this does delay iNcontrL's natural, but that doesn't matter because he's going to destroy his opponent's natural for it. So really, really good situation here. We're probably going to see a pylon truck down near these rocks. The forge is there already. You can see how tiny that wall off is. The third cannon was cancelled though, just to free up a bit of extra supply. Oh, iNcontrL, are you going to cannon rush this space as well? Go on, do it. No, don't go away. I feel like this probe is just going away feeling mean now. That probe is just like, I could probably do this, but no. That would be too nasty, but you totally should have done. That would have been hilarious to do, and definitely would have worked well. So, anyway, natural base is dead. This is definitely dead. No way it's going to survive. It's going to be a long time till it can get taken, because with these pylons here, actually just getting anything in to try and deal with it is going to be really awkward. So this is great news for iNcontrL, who's getting down his own natural nexus. He's got his gateway and 2 gas on their way as well. So everything piecing together as iNcontrL would want. Fitzy now is obviously a base down, or is soon to be on equal mining bases. And the third, as we mentioned earlier, massive wide open area here, with a small choke between. This, in terms of strategy for a Protoss, I'm just looking at this and thinking some sentries can happily walk up here, drop down 2 force fields, and I think you could actually block that with 2 force fields, just maybe 3 needed, but yeah, that would mean no reinforcements come in. This third hatchery, dead as well. And if you do that, you're going to be in a great spot. But Fitzy's starting down the road for him, because if you've lost that, and you know you can't retake your natural because of the cannons, you've got to get some rotors out to make that viable. The cybernetics core on its way down for iNcontrL. The other thing he could also be looking at going for is a Stargate style play, because look at this. This is dead space, a humongous amount of it as well. You can just come flying in here, harass down, jump down the cliff with a long ground rush distance round, start harassing into the third as well. So I'd say Stargate's very viable as well. lots of different options that can go down, and of course we do have a proxy pylon placed just to the left here, ready to warp in some units, so that can always be pretty fun. 6 now roaches on their way down, as well as Burrow getting research. The mothership core on its way for iNcontrL, who's just taking his 3rd and 4th gas now, making it very likely he's going for a tech heavy play. Is getting down a sentry, not chrono boosting the warp gate tech, but rather chrono boosting out on the gateway. The 3rd hatch is getting nicely saturated now. In terms of the worker count, though, it's exactly equal. And these 2 cannons and 2 pylons are still here. That's going to make it a little bit tough to try and deal with. So, how many units will Fitzy lose here? If he micros effectively, hopefully not too many. Burrow is also researched. Of course, that had a reduction in how much it costs, but with detection, it's not going to help too much. But as you can see, a roach going down already. One of those cannons is about to fall. That's the important thing. Now it'll be a lot easier to deal with. The 2nd roach gets taken out. The micro, really important. You don't want to lose anything unless you absolutely have to. The 3rd, or natural, getting retaken now. And this is starting to get a bit more normal. A robotics facility is on its way for iNcontrL, who is yet to start his 3rd base. Just moving this mothership core over. I'll be interested to see when he does take that, because I think when you know you're in forced cross spawns positions and you've delayed this 3rd, you can actually go for it relatively quickly and still be safe, because while there are some roaches out, there's not too many, and ultimately Fitzy is going to want to try and get this 3rd saturated and get up to the 70 plus worker mark. The lair is now started as well for Fitzy. This is just teching up very comfortably. Some additional gateways on their way through. With this robotic facility and with yet more sentries coming out, I'll be keeping a good eye out to see whether we get any immortals, because as I mentioned earlier, a couple of force fields down here could really screw up the reinforcements coming in for a Zerg and make picking off this 3rd quite simple potentially. The mothership core is on its way over. These 3 roaches on their way to go and counter-attack. Meanwhile, if we take a look up here, the observer is out. What else is going to come out from this robotics facility? There's the immortal with the additional gateways, and quite a lot of them. This is looking a lot like a 2-base sentry immortal play. +1 is also half completed. These roaches, if they come in though, they should easily be able to see that, well, they'll definitely be able to see the +1's done. And if this immortal pops near the front, they should also get a read that the immortal's there. So let's look at the vision that Fitzy's going to be able to achieve here. Sees that there are quite a few sentries. That's a bit of a tell already, but not a big giveaway, because you know that your opponent's put in a lot of minerals. iNcontrL also starting his Twilight Council. The mothership core just wandering around, not doing too much, hasn't got any kills, just really taking a quick peek and going, oh, okay, what are you doing? What have you got coming down? I did see a spire start getting made, but then it never completed, so I'm not sure if that was just a fake because of seeing iNcontrL coming in. He just really wants to make sure it doesn't get scouted, but here comes the spire. Muters on this map could be pretty funky, and here comes the 3rd Nexus from iNcontrL, so he's not going all in, even though he's got a lot of gateways here. He's just going to expand, play it relatively safe, make sure he's got a good number of sentries available. The problem is going to be that these muters could be a bit of a problem, but as we can see, the observer has come in. iNcontrL is completely aware that the spire is on its way out, and therefore can start preparing appropriately. And with this Twilight Council already finished, he's got +2 Protoss ground weapons on the way. He can start Blink fairly soon, and with Blink coming down, that just means that obviously he will be able to hold off those mutalisks quite a lot easier. Now, these spine crawlers are just trying to defend this position better, because it's a vulnerability getting force fielded there, and therefore Fitzy does not want that occurring. iNcontrL chucking down 2 Stargates, because 3 base Protoss can do pretty much anything they want to, so no problem with that. We do have a couple of roaches just burrowing around and being a bit of a pain, and I love the fact that there was a change to burrow research time, and also burrow cost, because this makes things very exciting with how it goes down, and you can definitely have some interesting stuff occurring. So that's what we're already seeing Fitzy do here. We've got the 5th and 6th assimilator getting placed by iNcontrL now, and it's once these 2 Stargates are out, they're just going to pump a lot of Phoenix in order to deal with these mutalisks. They outrange muters very effectively, even before they get the anion pulse crystals. We do have Blink as well, so really everything gearing up to deal with those muters as effectively as possible. But a potential little tech switch coming down here, which iNcontrL, he hasn't actually seen the infestation pick coming down, meaning these swarm hosts could catch him off guard, and while he's going for those Stargates, he obviously doesn't have any Colossi or High Templar, so no Storms or no Splash in any form, just meaning that Locusts are going to potentially be able to do a lot of damage. The first 2 Phoenix are already out on the field. We've got 2 more coming down, not getting chrono boosted yet. The chrono boost being spent on the +2 ground weapon. So iNcontrL really focusing on getting a good later game composition. Finally, the robotics bay does get started, but these Phoenix are going to shut down these mutas so effectively and so easily once 4 out. We've got cannons being placed as well. This is just really going to make things exceptionally hard for Fitzy to do too much. He's trying to engage on this cannon directly, of course taking some damage from behind, but in come the Phoenix, and this is where Fitzy will potentially take quite a lot of damage. Good micro here out of iNcontrL. We can see that he's taking down a lot of these Mutilas. The cannons doing incredibly well, and I don't actually believe, no, not a single Phoenix went down there to the Mutilas. Incredibly good control there by iNcontrL. As we can see, Fitzy placing a bit more defensive posture. All of the swarm hosts up, the spine callers there, the queens there, does not want iNcontrL getting in. A Dark Shrine is nearly completed as well. That means some Archons can be coming out. Blink nearly finished. We've got the second robotics facility ready for the double Colossus production. A few Zealots warping in. Are they going to come and take out these rocks at the back? Well, the Overlord can see in here due to obviously all the creep spread, and even if the creep went down, there is still the Overlord there. Really meaning that iNcontrL probably not going to be able to sneak anything down the back, but this is the big thing. Ultralisk Cavern coming down, and the Ultralisk Cavern is just going to really add a lot of oomph to Fitzy's force. And if we take a look at the worker count, he's actually incredibly low on workers, which is something that is going to cause him some problems. He's on equal worker count as iNcontrL, and iNcontrL is really just getting together everything he'd want. Upgrade-wise, it's 2-0 against 1-0 missile attacks. That also means that the Ultralisks, when they do come out, are not going to have any upgrades, and that means that ultimately iNcontrL can engage them much more effectively than he could otherwise. But some Vipers, they're going to help, because once you start getting them ducks off on the Colossi, you can get into a really nice position, and if you knock those out, obviously the Locusts and Swarm Hosts can do so much more damage. Now, this pylon coming down isn't a big loss for iNcontrL. It just means he's not going to be able to warp in any more Zealots around the place, but ultimately, he's got a Zealot down here, he's got a pylon down here. The fourth base for Fitzy desperately needs to get secured. The chitinous plating upgrade is getting researched, as well as +2 missile attack, but just a few small units edging their way ever closer. The first Colossus is coming across, the second Colossus there as well. The fourth base coming down for iNcontrL already. But I don't see iNcontrL being able to break this line too easily. There's quite a number of swarm hosts there at 11. There's also those Vipers, and once the Ultralisks hit as well, it's going to become very awkward to try and break through. So I think iNcontrol is just going to sit back, try and be a little bit more passive, make sure that ultimately he doesn't get a bad engagement, because that's the one thing you don't want. It'll take you a long time to resupply, and if you are resupplying, there's always the option for a Zerg player to just counterattack you. But Fitzy, still really low on drones, needs to get some big drone waves coming in, sitting at only 57 now after building these extractors on 4 bases, not saturated really at the third, and of course not saturated at the natural either, or the main. That means that his income compared to that of iNcontrol is going to be a lot lower. These Phoenix just running around, suddenly see the Queens there, that's always a bit of a dangerous point. iNcontrol getting down the Templar Archives, that's going to help him engage this massive clump of Locusts by getting a few Storms down to clear them out quickly, then pushing forward with the Observers, will be able to take out the Swarm Host. Now, the one thing that's missing from Fitzy's composition with his army is he's only got these 2 Overseers, which are essential to snipe off any Observers that are coming, but with only 2 of them, they're potentially a bit of a weak spot. If they get taken out, then that just means that the Observers will be able to grant vision, and those Swarm Hosts could get taken out quite quickly. But for the moment, a couple of Zealots is getting taken out completely for free to those Locusts, +2 missile attack is already done for Fitzy, and that just means that they do a tremendous amount of DPS. And iNcontrol, just sitting back, he's getting a good count of Colossus. He's also going to be starting to pump out some more High Templar now. He's got 5 at the moment. Storm is about half done, and once Storm finishes up, he can get those down on the Locust very easily and potentially do quite a lot of damage. 1 DT running around, just taking a quick look. We can see the 4th base has no detection at it. But there are these 2 Overseers with the army, so that can make it a little bit awkward for iNcontrol to be able to get those through. But actually, in terms of all the other bases, there's Spore Crawlers around, but I don't believe that Spore Crawler won't be in range of the Ultralisk Cavern, so that's a potential sniping opportunity. The Phoenix just running around saying, okay, there's a Spore Crawler, a couple of Overlords sitting free, and this is just really trying to get scouting information and make sure the Phoenix get a bit more use, because if you don't use the Phoenix well, then they're just wasted supply. The Ultras, they're running about, they're doing their usual Ultralist thing. A couple more Overlords are getting taken out. Won't supply block Fitzy though, so that's fine. One of the Phoenix is about to go down though to that Queen, which is obviously very frustrating and something that you don't always want happening. But good transfuse goes down, just desperate to keep those overlords alive. But iNcontrL not actually focusing down 2 now, which are incredibly low on health. If he could just pick them off, it'd be a great spot. But he's moving forward with this army through the center. We also have Locust trying to push into these gateways, but a long way back. The Locusts are doing quite a nice job. Here come the Abduct. Brilliant Abducts go down there from Fitzy. iNcontrL is really taking quite a lot of damage up on the north side with those ultras pushing in, but the 4 Colossi that were abducted did manage to survive. They didn't take much fire at all. The Observer is allowing the Swarm host to get cleaned up. iNcontrL really not coming out too badly from this fight, just kiting back those ultras. This Colossus unfortunately will go down. The Vipers are still alive, and this is just a Queen Ultra Viper sort of composition. There is the Hydra Den just being added on, but no Hydras in production. Instead, just some Corruptors in order to help deal with those Colossi. That's fine. Everything looking alright at the moment. The 4th base is up for iNcontrL, who's still tremendously ahead in terms of the drone count. Fitzy has never, as every time I've looked, gone above 60 harvesters. That is really low for a Zerg player. We're used to seeing Zergs at 75, 80 drones throughout the game. So that's why Fitzy has got to trade very cost effectively, and why actually having these queens out is a benefit to him, because if he's got a good number of queens, he can get some transfuses off, and as long as he gets some transfuses, that will allow those ultras to engage very well against the forces that iNcontrL has at the moment. But look at this. This War Prism, did it get spotted there? Yes, it did. No, did it? There's one Muta patrolling, but I don't think Fitzy did notice it. He's got a bit distracted by all these Zealots warping in, so this is a bit of misdirection, a bit of magic, and ultimately it just means that Fitzy, he's back here, he's keeping an eye out on all of these Zealots, and he's not keeping an eye on the fact that the Zealots warping into his main base. Those units have got a long way to get back. What's going to get focused down by these Zealots? Will it be the Queen, or will it be the Spire? It looks like iNcontrL has decided that he wants no more air units coming out. He definitely does not want more Corruptors. Transfuse did go down. Units desperately trying to come back, but these Zealots do have 3-1 upgrades, meaning they do an incredible amount of DPS, and that Spire is gone. That limits the tech options that Fitzy has available to him. The spawning pool trying to get focused down as well. I shouldn't go down, to be honest. It might be a bit close, but actually with the Queen pulling back, it definitely will go down now. Not quite sure why Fitzy pulled that back. It means that he hasn't dealt with these Zealots. Where is his attention? Well, he's looking up here at the army that's pushing him forward towards these Swarm hosts, but losing the spawning pool is a big loss. It means no more Zerglings could be coming out if he did want to utilize those at all. No more Queens, which are making up quite a sizable chunk of his army with 11 on the field, and therefore could be looking in a bit of pain. iNcontrL starting to move forward. Both players are nearing the 200 of 200 supply. iNcontrL has taken an expansion down to the bottom right. They're taking him up to 5 bases to Fitzy's 4. But we've got big engagements coming down at the center. Archon's trying to do as much damage as they can. Transfuses going down on that Ultralist chain, transfusing it. A few Abducts are coming on these Colossi, but how quickly can they get focused down? Well, we see the Corruptors doing some nice fire. The Locust really cleaning up everything else, and this is precisely what Fitzy would have wanted. Clearing out all of iNcontrL's army. Both players getting back down to just under the 150 supply mark. But in terms of resources lost, iNcontrL losing 5,000 more resources than that of his opponent. We do have the Ultras running about still. Zealots warping in towards this natural base. What are they going to go for? It looks like the Ultralist cavern, but there's 2 Ultras on their way through. The Spire also trying to get focused down as quickly as possible. And a little bit of a pathing bug here, because the SimCity just means the Ultras can't get back in. The Locust desperate to try and come over, but they do burst just before they get back, and that means that the Spire once more will go down, getting remade. The Ultralist cavern falls as well. That is a big loss. So much of Fitzy's army and composition was revolving around these Ultralists, and not being able to produce them is going to be a big problem for him. DTs are just swiping their way through, trying to do any damage that is available to them, but all in all, DTs coming back in towards the natural base as well. The Hydra Den, that's going to go down. It's not going to get saved. These DTs with +3 attack do so much damage. And Overseer is now morphing. The best thing iNcontrL could do is split these DTs up, but he's sending them all up into the main base at the moment, and it looks like Fitzy hasn't noticed that and is keeping all of his army down at the natural. In terms of upgrades, we are a 3-1 against 3-2, so iNcontrL now taking the advantage there. He takes out the spawning pool, trying to focus down the Roach Warren, but of course with detection and those Ultras and Spines there, not going to be successful. A couple of Zealots just sitting under a possible 5th base location of the Zerg, but the 5th base for iNcontrL has been spotted. That means that these Swarm hosts are getting ever so closer and are going to start sieging. Only 3 cannons there. Those cannons are going to go down exceptionally quickly to those Locusts should Fitzy decide to attack them, but at the moment it seems that he's just going to run the Locusts up towards the natural and the 4th base, as opposed to trying to go straight in towards obviously the 5th. That's fine as long as it does do some decent damage. The Locust though currently sitting at the watchtower, not doing much else. Here comes the Locust though down towards the south position. I don't know if iNcontrL is aware that his opponent knows about this base, but these Locusts, they're going to tear through the cannons very quickly. There is a single DT there, but the DT is just not going to be able to kill the Locust quicker than the Locust can kill everything out on the field. A big warp in of Zealots though coming on the other side of the map, so iNcontrL is going to be getting his revenge if these Locusts do manage to break through the Nexus. And as we can see, the Zealots even engaging head up with an Ultralisk and not doing too badly, but this is a much larger number of them, and that means the Zealots are on pretty much a beeline towards this natural base. The Hatchery taking a lot of fire, going to try and get focused down, but the Ultras, the Hydras are just shredding apart those units. Really very effective. The Locusts managed to take up the 5th base of iNcontrL, and that means that finally these two are back on equal worker count. On base count, the worker count is still in iNcontrL's favour though by 11. That's the sort of advantage that we've been seeing throughout this game, and why iNcontrL can trade cost ineffectively as we're seeing at the moment and still be so easily in this game, and potentially slightly ahead actually. He's taken out the key tech of Fitzy repeatedly, and that's really important for him, because all while he's taking out that key tech, it just means that he's preventing Fitzy from being able to make the army composition he wants. Some DTs are coming in. We see that this base that Fitzy so desperately wants his 5th is going to be trying to take a little bit of damage, but with the Overseers there, with the Ultras and Hydras, not going to be too successful. The Locust pushing in towards the 5th base, or sorry, the 4th base of iNcontrL. iNcontrL taking this 5th up to the center top position, but one gateway going down. We've got units coming from the side. Will we get some good abducts here? This is where they need to be absolutely perfect, but iNcontrL getting some good storms off there on the Hydralisk. The Corruptors dealing with the Colossi effectively, but overall, iNcontrL came off much better in that engagement, dealing so much damage to those Hydras incredibly quickly with the Storms and the Colossi, and this is where he's going to run into some massive problems, because Fitzy, he has just got this force ever creeping forward. The Corruptors have got to take out these Colossi as fast as they can, but the Blinkstalk is focusing down with the Archons. The Swarm hosts are able to be revealed, and that just means that, well, they are going to die exceptionally fast. What is Fitzy going to do here? I don't see that he's got any option. iNcontrL, he's moving forward for the kill. He's going to knock out this 5th base. He's also knocked out the natural with these Zealots on the other side, and Fitzy is just getting 18 Mutalisks out to try and deal with it as best he can. But as we can see, there's 3 Archons here with iNcontrL's main army. He's got quite a few Blinkstalkers. In addition to that, he's trying to take out the tech. The Swarming Pool will go down shortly. He's getting some more Swarm hosts as well, but iNcontrL, with 5 bases up yet again, with that 69 probe to 41 drone lead. His economy has been better throughout this game. He's been harassing at multiple angles all throughout, and he's just doing a really nice job actually, and that's a big problem for Fitzy, and he hasn't really been able to keep up economically, and that's why iNcontrL is now at 193 supply, just 112 of the root player, and now pushing forward. If this 4th base falls, that'll leave just one mining base that's near, which is pretty much mined out for Fitzy, and that should be GG. He's not got enough out on the field to engage his head on. 19 Mutalisks will not fare well against the 3 Archons and those Stalkers. So many more drones going down. Will Fitzy go for one last ditch attempt? There's a single Swarm host going to its death. We've got a lot of Mutalisks going in for the counter push, which will be able to knock out that 5th base, but iNcontrL with such a sizable force, the Stalkers, the Archons need to focus down those Corruptors though to make sure that the Colossi do stay alive, and that is precisely what they are doing, and this is allowing iNcontrL to start moving forward. 3 Colossus still up, those 2 Archons, 2 Immortals doing nice, 3 Archons, and all of the Stalkers are just shredding this army to pieces. Where are the Mutalisks? And that is the big question. They're coming in from the side, trying to do a little bit more damage, but as we can see, the Archons, they're just too much. Fitzy knows it, and he GG's out. So that was a brilliant game. Big thank you to iNcontrL. He actually sent these to me over on Skype, so thank you, Jeff, for sending those. That was a brilliant game. I've got a couple more from him as well, which I'll be casting over the next few days. And also, thank you for Fitzy for playing that. That was a really, really interesting PvZ. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure you like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course, subscribe. I'm Madals. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.